live. We'll give the people a couple minutes. Let me go full screen. God, we look hot. Well, yeah, I mean, y'all look hot. I try. So BLN, boom.
You thought we're live?
Yeah, we're live. I'm just gonna give people like 2 minutes and then.
Maybe I'll get in it.
You guys know anywhere on the Discord app that you can scan a QR code to log into your account?
I can't say I
I'm not
do.
that
Yeah,
familiar with that.
I'm not sure.
With Discord.
I never use the actual app. I just have it on my computer.
Yeah. Discord app.
God.
Your settings menu and choose scan option.
Cam's gifted 45 subs over the years, man. What a king. What an absolute king.
Oh, yeah, it shows all those too.
I'm sorry, CMAS. Maybe next time. Maybe next time. But I mean, you got all three of us with our face cams. You know, you can only ask for so much. Let's be honest. There's only so much to go around. Hey, King. We're gonna settle in, y'all. We're gonna give everyone another minute to get in here, and then we'll get started. First pot of Ben 22. Well, I don't know what you consider the thing with Ben, but yeah.
The thing with Ben, is that better cast? What are we calling that?
I don't really know what the there goes. I don't really know what that was. Because that was like a lot of the same stuff we'll talk about, except I'm sure you two will have better takes, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Figured it out.
We got King and Cody subscribing. They're here. They're fired up for Madden 22. It's just around the corner. All right. Now it's time. I like the amount of subscribers we just got. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 42 of the Bettercast. I'm your host, Connor Rice. I am joined for the first time in like half a year, I think. For the first time since, I think, before season 4 of Madden 21, I think was the last time we got together. And we're here now. I'm joined by the Seattle boys, Lucky and Morty. How you doing?
Go back.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
We're doing great, and we have all sorts of subscriptions coming in. We got Dan, we got Taint. I mean, we've had 4 subs just since we got started, so keep that same energy going throughout this, y'all. I absolutely love to see it. We got a lot to talk about, obviously. It seems all but confirmed that Madden 22, the scouting update, is coming out tomorrow. That means the Better League is soon to come, ladies and gentlemen. Probably within the next week or so, we'll be playing Better League football. So very, very excited for that. The first thing I'll ask you too, and again, this is going to be some of the same stuff I discussed with Ben, but everyone's, even more excited to see you two in this Better League podcast. Madden 22 gameplay thoughts. We obviously all did the preseason tournament. I don't know how much other experience you've had in Madden 22. Obviously, we're on the next gen. It's a very, very different feel overall from Madden 21. Lucky, I'll start with you. Just overall thoughts on the gameplay or wherever else we take this.
Yeah. I'm going to do my best to stay positive going into the season. Giving sim mode, the sliders we've got, the default sliders, which I want to stay on. I just want to clear that up in the beginning. I'm looking forward to just seeing how everything works. But I've been pretty disappointed with the way things have been playing so far. I'm looking forward to seeing if that holds up over the course of a full season. I think we're probably going to see a bunch of offensive records broken in these seasons. Partially due to the 17th game is going to be one thing, but also just the gameplay itself is going to look a lot like Chargers versus Browns this weekend. I think it's going to be really interesting seeing how that all plays out. I think there's been a lot of talk about the zones. There's been a lot of talk about run blocking a little bit. I'm curious, honestly, at the end of the day, we've done mostly competitive mode games, and we haven't really dug in too deep to the sim, I don't know what you call it, play style.
Yeah, sim mode, whatever it is.
Madden. But I'm curious. I'm curious to see how that plays out, and I think it's going to be huge towards, dictating the level of excitement that we keep throughout the cycle.
Yeah, sim mode will definitely do something to keep, offenses down a little bit, especially offenses with bad quarterbacks. How much we'll see, we're probably still, as you said, going to see a lot of offensive records be broken. Season 1, Morty, again, same as Lucky, I don't know how much experience you have with Madden 22. Obviously, we'll get to the Panthers who have just the secondary of dreams after a couple trades they made. But what are your thoughts on Madden 22, just gameplay-wise so far?
I'm not sure if offense is easy or just Christian McCaffrey is really good. He just stops on a dime. I am a big fan of the new movement. like even if it's gonna be like a tough adjustment, hopefully a lot of us have kind of started making progress there already. I still do prefer like whatever we can get towards, which seems a little bit more towards reality. Like I'm all for kind of reaching that point. Honestly, either way, just the fact that they've improved franchise mode or CFM, like, for me at least, like just times other than playing the games, like all that extra depth will be strictly. I'm gonna enjoy it a lot, and I'm glad we waited for the scouting update, specifically because it's now so close. Maybe if it was August again, I'd changed my mind. But I am looking forward to it overall, and I don't know. It would just be good to get competing again. At this point, that's what it's truly missed. But I think we're in a good spot.
Yeah, I was definitely one of the people, funny how this works. Like the whole time we were waiting, I was like, why are we waiting? Why are we waiting? We should start. And then now that we're here, I'm glad we waited. Just funny how that is. But the scouting just flexes on us every single podcast. Absolutely love to see it. Don't forget the winningest user in Better League history, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all saw that article a couple days ago. But just, we have a completely new scouting system now. Obviously, it's not just hit X 3 times, get the top 3 stats that each prospect has, see the combine, at the end of free agency, and then you're done. Like, how do you, obviously, kind of the lore of the artificial intelligence it seems like built every year, like, as the Better Leagues continued and gone on, it seems like, guys like Matthew Davis, Norman Fletcher, Stephen Cooper, etc., like, continue to make their mark in Better League history. How do you think the, truly, if EA has hit on this, like, it seems really, really awesome. Like, how do you think this new scouting system is going to impact the Better League? And then how do you see it impacting also your own enjoyment of the Better League?
I think a lot remains to be seen with how the system actually works. I think we've seen a bit of videos, we've seen some tutorials about the way EA wants it to work, and I'm 100% team wait for the scouting update. I've been really excited about just having a new and revitalized way to play the game. I thought that the scouting, the current that we've been using for the last 2 years, scouting system it was solid when it was implemented, and it became too predictable as far as the 32-man CFM went. And that's my main thing, is I like the idea of of not everybody in the league having the exact same information. I think it would be really cool, any system that allows one team to get the leg up on everybody else because they did something right. I would love to see something like that implemented. I'd love to see, like, if you have some sort of, like, character trait for scouting DBs, then it makes it easier for you to find that 6th rounder that the rest of the league doesn't see as well. Because that's been my main gripe, is like we go into draft day with all these things and you get excited about the guys you want, and then you find out pretty quickly if you don't have a top 20 pick, then you're probably not going to get a guy that you were really that excited about. Quickly you're dropping down to like a 70 overall normal dev. So if everything works out the way that they want it to, and I'm optimistic that if nothing else, I'm optimistic that it will be a step up from what we've had. But if everything works out the way they want it to, I think this is going to be huge for the league. I think it's going to make scouting, team development, the draft so much.
And not specifically the scouting process. I do think, and I hope the draft classes have been improved. I think that's a thing. At least
seems like
a little more dev traits with a lot of those top guys. Maybe a little more consistency in terms of truly knowing out of the top 20 pick is probably not going to be ideal. Like, because that's really what it was. But yeah, kind of back to what you were saying specifically about the update. It would be nice to have scouting not more of a skill to it, not necessarily just in regards to how you spend your points. But, like, whenever you're trying to build your team, you can target that kind of scout to focus in that kind of region. There's just a lot more depth there. I feel like I keep coming back towards depth, and not that Madden is there, but a couple of years ago, I dove in a BA 2K, and like the depth in that game,
mind blowing,
it was overwhelming.
Yeah,
it almost had me like rein in my expectations for what I wish Madden was. It was too much. Like, it was just crazy how the depth. But I'd rather have too much depth that you can rain back on than like constantly wishing you had more. And it's been like 15 years of wishing we had more. And I'm excited that hopefully it's tomorrow away, and hopefully they just build on it.
Yeah. And I will say, like, and you will never see me just heap praise on EA, because obviously, Madden still is, a broken game in many aspects, but it is a really nice step forward, if they did again hit with the scouting update, if it's not just super buggy out of launch. Like, it does seem like they really put an effort into this, really put an effort into completely revamping a big part of franchise mode, especially for a lot of these long-term established leagues, who have guys like Dan doing behind the scenes stuff with like the Hall of Fame and with all these, kind of new ways to implement drafted players, the AI, as Austin calls it. It's gonna be really, really exciting. I think, unless either of you, I know Murray's doing this thing, unless either of you have anything to say about Madden 22 or the scouting update, we can move on to our first division. Do either of you have any other thoughts, or you good to get going?
Let's do it.
Good to go.
Beautiful stuff. So the first division we have, of course, is the AFC East, and hey, even since me and Ben did our podcast, we have a new member of the AFC East now. Cam's Buffalo Bills, Jesse's Miami Dolphins, Austin's New England Patriots, King's New York Jets. Obviously, a wide spread, it seems like, of success levels, at least from Madden 21. You had Austin, who had the most dominant cycle anyone's ever had, bar none. 5 rings. You have 4 rings. You have King, who was a very, very solid, consistent playoff threat within the best division last season. You have Cam, who had a couple of decent seasons, I believe, made the playoffs season 1, didn't do a ton, and then Jesse was kind of the same way, had a couple successful seasons in a division with myself and Cody, but didn't do really a ton as well. Overall thoughts on this division, and then once you've given your overall thoughts, we can talk more about specific users.
This is going to be in the team selection process, I had the Dolphins really high on my list. This is just 100% a team that I was like really excited for. And then the second that I saw who started filling up the division, I was pretty content to not end up getting the Dolphins.
Yeah.
This isn't even just I don't want to be in Austin's division because he's too good type of conversation, but it's just a really solid division. Austin is obviously having a dominant user like that in your division is one thing, but King, I played a whole division with him in Madden 21, and he and I had some of the most exciting games of like anybody that I played consistently, but I don't want to be in a division with him. Cam is just a very frustrating user to play as well, because he does like the little things, and the way he plays is just like so grinded out and antithetical to the way Madden is actually built and like the metas that keep things going. I was pretty happy to not be in this division. I will say just a quick shout out really quick to Fern. I'm not sure why Fern couldn't make it to the start of the season. But he was great to have last year. Disappointing he's not going to be with us. But latching on to that's a testament to the rest of this league, that even though we started 2 months, even though we're starting 2.5 months after the game dropped, we only lost 1 user in that time. So I think that's pretty awesome.
I'd say this division is I'm kind of burnt out on the AFC East after being in there for so long. But just with the users they've put in there, the Jets are rough, but I mean, King's proven team builder at this point, based on his Rams last year. So I think it might take a bit of time, but he'll get there. I mean, Austin's obviously the cream of the crop, but I'm thankful to have Jesse back. That is nice. Tough to lose Fern, but I'm more familiar with Jesse anyways, and for happy hours, right? You're good to
yes, sir. Oh, I think those are back.
And then, of course, Cam with that great team, and they didn't, as he wished, they didn't really blow it up before we got started much, anyways. So I don't know. Ultimately, it'll be a slugfest. I don't think I've seen Austin play a single game, so I'm not sure to what degree he's kind of grinding on Madden yet. But I mean, just inherently, he's going to be up there, right?
Has to be, you would think. I mean, I don't know if he's quite as motivated this Madden as he was last Madden to prove people wrong, but we'll see. I mean, you always have to assume he's a Super Bowl threat until proven otherwise, so we'll see. God, every time I look down there, the 4 rings are just popping in my face more and more. Absolutely love it. 2 more subscriptions since we started talking here. You little Alex and Justin, thank you so much for subscribing here. We'll keep this going. I am interested, I think we kind of know, and I say this with no disrespect, especially to Cam, who went on a huge run in the preseason. I think we kind of know what to expect a little bit from Jesse and Fern, at least compared to Austin. I think Austin's going to be pretty consistently beating those 2 users. It's not, I don't think, controversial to say. Do you think King is one of those guys who can give Austin a run more often than not? Because we know King has confidence. We know that he can, we know he can rise up to the challenge. We saw that really all throughout Madden 21. Do you see it as being kind of a 2-man race between Austin and King, or do you think it's Austin 1, King 2, and then the rest?
I do think Austin is a clear-cut number 1, but I don't think that the distance... Let's put it this way. I think that the distance between King and Austin is the same as the distance between Jesse and Cam. And I have a decent amount of respect for Jesse and Cam. I think that they're solid 7 to 10 win users any given season type of thing. I think King 100%, especially, I think I'll give him a couple seasons because that Jets roster is kind of tough. But I do believe that King 100%, once he gets that team, and he's a really solid team builder. Once he builds the team that he likes and he gets it all figured out, it would not shock me to see him win the division in the back half of the cycle, even if Austin does lock in. I think King's one of those guys who can just get hot and just play really good football for a full season. And that wouldn't shock me at all to see him win the division at some point.
I agree with that. At least early on, I'm looking over the roster now of the Jets. It's so bad. So bad is an understatement. But I mean, there's exciting young players. I could see it. They may be benefiting from some early cycle sloppiness, as we're all kind of adjusting. So season 1, you never really know what happens in terms of somebody kind of overcoming their lesser team. But maybe in the middle seasons or early middle seasons, might fall back a bit in terms of still continuing to build. But overall, I can. On the Cam side of things, it might depend on how well he can keep that initial roster together and can continue to bring his Michigan guys in, get his players he wants. If he can, it's a pretty good squad, right? Let's see if he can kind of keep it intact. Then I know with Jesse down in Miami, they still have a lot of draft capital, just a lot of young talent, of course, resources. Maybe less on the draft capital now. Maybe they've spent that up at this point. But it's more of a long-term project. But it's going to get spicier in the middle of the cycle, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the weird thing about this division is Jesse and Cam have the 2 rosters that would be the most comfortable with as kind of a long-term deal, in terms of just young talent that you can build on. But the problem is, and this is, again, no disrespect to either of them, but they haven't proven that they can be at that elite level that an Austin, that a King has been able to do. Things change Madden to Madden, maybe we'll see Jesse or Cam, rise up to that level, it's very possible, but for now, we just haven't seen it. I actually have King winning the division season 1. That was kind of a leading question for me because that's one of my, I know, I see the question marks on your faces, but I don't know. Austin has not played the game a whole lot. I think that King is really, really motivated. You can see it even in the Twitch chat right now. King's very motivated to win this division, and I do think the Jets roster is maybe a bit better than you're giving it credit for. I do also think the Patriots roster is maybe a bit worse than you're giving it credit for in terms of, especially now that it's old. So we'll see what Austin's able to do. I do think Austin's going to have the overall more successful cycle than King. I think we'll see that at the end. But season 1, I think King's winning that division. We'll have to see. Well, obviously, we'll just have to see how that goes. So enough for the AFC East. I'm having to pull up 3 apps at once. So moving on now to the NFC East, which is a really, really interesting division. Obviously, Lucky, you can kind of lead the division on this one, lead the discussion on this one since this is your division. But Chase's Dallas Cowboys, Lucky's New York Jets, Nick's Philadelphia Eagles, Little Alex's Washington football team. Lucky, I'll just let you start off. As the team reveal show was going on, what were your thoughts when you saw this when you saw this division kind of take root, and then also what do you think the long term just status of the division is here moving forward?
Yeah, I think I think that this is a division full of question marks, if I'm being honest. And that's both a compliment, and we'll see what happens. But Nick, I think, is a bit of a known quantity. He's not somebody who I think I see like hopping into mud all of a sudden and like spending all of his time like grinding at the game. He's here. He's a great user to have in the league. But I think you know what you get with Nick. But with the other, not including myself, the other two users, Chase has been a phenomenal user in the past, but he also took last cycle off. He sounds committed. He sounds like excited to get going, and that's great. I think a better league with Chase is a better league. But it remains to be seen, like, what exactly does Chase after a year's hiatus look like? And to that extent, we also have little Alex, who last year, he really took advantage of coronavirus, of quarantining, being home all the time. He spent a lot of time getting a lot better at this game. And kudos to him, because he became a fantastic user. He was one of the top 5 users in the league last year, in my opinion. And I expect him, obviously, he's going to retain that. It's not like he's going to forget how to win the game overnight. But he's in college now. He's getting into shenanigans on the weekends. He's doing...
letting us know all about him, too, every single time.
You know what? Little Alex, follow your heart. You know what you need to do, buddy. But at the end of the day, I do believe, like, little Alex is somebody who he got a lot better because he was playing the game a lot. And just naturally, life, you know, like in college, freshman year, it's tough to do that at quite the same level as what you've been doing. So, you know, I mean, I think this division is, I could see it going so many different ways. Alex, like the football team, Washington was high on my list, like the Dolphins. Those are 2 of my top 3 teams. So I'm obviously very high on the ability of that team in its own right. So I think he has a lot to build with there, and I think that's going to help him a lot. But I need to wait and see, like, what do these guys look like? Because I could easily see both of them being 12 to 14 win teams every season.
Yeah.
And I could see them being inconsistent and winning games and losing games. Like, I think that there remains a lot to be seen. And I mean, myself, I'm kind of also in the same boat. Like, I'm more or less going to be the same player I was last year, which was sometimes I win a game I shouldn't, and sometimes I lose a game that I shouldn't. And I think it's going to be an interesting division just in that regard, because I think that there's going to be a lot of, like, what the hell is going to happen.
I can definitely relate to how you just described yourself. That feels like me too, unfortunately. Morty, I'm curious now from the outsider's perspective, how do you see this division breaking out?
I really hope Chase returns to form, because exactly what Lucky said with the whole better league thing. But yeah, that roster is nasty, right? I think they've benefited from the roster updates throughout the season so far, at least a bit. I mean, I'm sure Dak went up, like, he's turned it up. And then, you know, Washington football team, little Alex. I mean, he's definitely going to be dangerous. Like, the defense is good to go, right? Just kind of got to get a quarterback settled in. And, no, even on offense, he's got some weapons. And, you know, the Eagles are frisky, of course. Some good players there. Let's see if he can do anything with Hurts or Al Sanders. And then, of course, Lucky. I mean, I'm familiar with the Giants roster other than Barkley. Like, is Daniel Jones been all right for you so far?
Yeah, you know, actually, I'm not. I think I have work to do on defense, but the offense has quite a bit of playmakers. Look to see Kadarius Toney get involved a lot early. Got John Ross out there. Kenny Galladay has red zone threat. I have 2 other receivers that are like 82, 84 overall. One of them is like 93 speed. And Daniel Jones, I mean, we'll see what we'll see what sim style brings, but Daniel Jones has been lighting it up in comp mode. So at 88 speed, I mean, this Madden, that could be enough. Like, we'll see.
So Jameis and Taysom Hill, yeah, we'll see what sim mode brings for us. But yeah, man, the chat is active today. My God, y'all really showed up for the First Man 22 pod. Thank you for that. But yeah, this really, you know, I hate to sound like I'm copying out here, although I feel like I gave a hot enough take with the last division, but this really is like Chase, Lucky, Little Alex. I could see any like 1, 2, 3 order like moving forward. Like that really does feel like a very, very even division to me. You'd probably have to give Little Alex the slight edge just based on how last cycle went, just based on, I mean, he was in the AFC Championship more often than not, really more often than not. It was only Austin that was standing in his way, and you know, Austin was standing in everyone's way, AFC and NFC, so like that's no real slight to Little Alex. I do also think that that defense is going to be absolutely incredible. You know, that front seven's really, really tough. You got some elite, you know, pass rushers like Chase Young and Montez Sweat. So again, we'll see how the comp mode versus sim mode thing goes. We'll see if pass rush is actually like a thing in sim mode, but if it is, then, you know, that's going to be a problem for Little Alex too. But I also do not see the Little Alex, as I just said, as like the clear number one. I really do think any of y'all could win it. And I do think Lucky you're being a little bit slept on, you know, just based on, you know, the cycle was inconsistent, but you were also in the best division and you still made the playoffs more often than not and made the NFC Championship last year when everyone was still trying. So it's like, you know, you're right there with them. And now, and I think people may not necessarily be seeing it that way, but I could very easily see you take down Little Alex. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, everyone's... Ben is just going at me for no reason. I don't appreciate it. But the next division we'll talk about here is the AFC North, and this was the patented division of death from the team reveal show. I don't know, you know, now that we've had time to kind of like calm down on it, I don't know how much of a division of death it is necessarily, but still a very, very solid potential 4-man division here. CMAS's Baltimore Ravens, Tahuti's Cincinnati Bengals, Heroes, Cleveland Browns, Steels, Pittsburgh Steelers. Yikes. Yeah, obviously, you know, these are 4 users that have had, you know, varying degrees of success in the better league. CMAS has appeared in multiple Super Bowls. Steel got to the Super Bowl last cycle. Tahuti, a 2-time Super Bowl champion, although that was back, I believe, in Madden 19. And then Hero, you know, a very, very solid regular season user. That sounds like a shot. It's not. He is a very solid regular season user. But look, Morty, actually, I'll start with you this time, just to switch it up. What are your thoughts on this league, or on this division, just in general?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see at what level Tahuti's at. Like, I'm not sure if he's been playing much, but I don't know. Like, isn't his play style like really mobile quarterback? I know
triple
Burrow's
option
kind of
loves all that.
Burrow's not the ideal quarterback for that. Also, Burrow's sneaky old. Like, I wonder if he's even like a long-term option at this point. But, yeah, that'll be interesting. I think that might have to be an adjustment for him. I mean, not that he's not a quality enough player to kind of be able to make that work, but it'll be interesting. But yeah, I do kind of see it as not division of deathy, but still like I look at those 4 names and each one of them, I'm like, yeah, they could kick my ass if like, you know, if you know the cards played themselves right, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I do think it'll be a tough one, and then, you know, it's for the most part 3 pretty okay, or a couple good rosters, a couple okay rosters. But yeah, just a lot of talent in this division, roster-wise and kind of user-wise. So I could see it being a total toss-up to some degree. But overall, yeah, CMAS and Lamar Jackson, like that's got to be what you would expect to be up there. I mean, he's got speed all over the place. I think that if I had to choose would be my top choice at this point. But you know, the Browns are still scary. Steelers need a quarterback still, but there's talent there. I truly think it could be a toss-up once again, going back to early cycle sloppiness, where you know, it's really going to take some time before people start getting a grip on some of the things within the game, specifically as we go to sim mode. So it'll be interesting, but I see this as an absolute toss-up. But I would not at all be surprised if CMAS kind of took the edge.
What do you think, Lucky?
Yeah, I think the whole division of death thing kind of got a lot of hype, like, as we were getting into the team reveal. But that being said, all 4 of these users made the top 13 in my preseason power rankings. It is for guys who are going to be playoff contenders every single season. I'm not sure you can say that about any other division. It's far and away what I think is the best division to start the cycle. We'll see how these guys adapt to the new Madden and all that. I think that people might be sleeping on Tahuti a little bit. This is a guy that's been completely dominant in the past. At his peak, he's one of probably the better users in the history of the league. And it's I think because of the way he came in last season, taking over a team in I think he played the last 2 seasons, but really he only played the last season because he came in like halfway through the second last season or something like that. We didn't really see him using a team that he built. We didn't see him like playing with a team that he really cares that much about, and I think that has a way of driving down the perception of people to everybody else. You're not seeing him at his like true ability. I 100% could see him jumping out and being a leading contender in the AFC the entire cycle, just based off what I've seen from him in the past. I think obviously CMAS comes in with the best roster of the division. This man seems like it's going to favor fast QBs, and he's got the fastest out there. Lamar's going to be crazy, along with a whole bunch of other talent on offense. But I do think that CMAS is likely to come out and lead the division for the first couple seasons. But I think ultimately Tahuti is the one who's going to tend to be the cream of the crop throughout the course of the whole cycle. Kind of makes a little bit more sense to me. I think you were kind of on the spot with Hero in that he is a great regular season user. And that's not meant to be an insult, but at the same time, like,
it's a little, yeah.
Like, come on, like, there is something there to show us a little bit more. Obviously, the Browns come in with a great roster, so if there's any cycle where he might be able to do it, this is a great opportunity. At the end of the day, Steele is Steele. He lost in the playoffs to me when he let me score 75 points. I just have to make sure that makes it into the archives.
75 in case I misheard.
75. It was a 7 followed by a 5.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes in with the worst roster in the division, in my opinion. It's going to be an uphill battle. I know Steele's generally a great user. And like I said, I think he made my top 10, top 13. He was somewhere in there in my power rankings. So I know he definitely has the ability to fight with the rest of the guys throughout the full cycle. But as far as these guys go, I think that he has the toughest hill to climb as far as roster construction goes.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this about Tahuti. Season 5, I went into the playoffs on a 12-game winning streak. He beat me with his Dolphins team that had like a 74 overall defense. So like ever since then, I have very limited exposure to Tahuti in terms of like, I think we've only ever played twice, but ever since that game, I have to give him his full credit because he knows how to scheme his way to victories with lesser teams, if you will. Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way about CMAS's Madden 22 cycles I did heading into Madden 21 with Alex. Obviously, we saw how that cycle went with the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll get to that later. But I think that if CMAS does not win at least one Super Bowl, I will be very, very disappointed. It seems like this is just everything's coalescing for him, right? He made 2 Super Bowls last Madden, with the Chicago Bears. He has Lamar Jackson, who is probably going to be the single most dynamic threat in the league, more so than Mahomes, more so than anyone as far as the quarterback position goes, given how QB scrambling is this Madden, given how hard it is to contain guys, I need to see a Super Bowl out of him. I think we'll see one. That's not to, like, indicate, like, oh, I think he's going to disappoint him. I think we'll see CMAS win at least one Super Bowl this cycle. Now, will CMAS be the only one from this division to win a Super Bowl? We'll have to see. Obviously, Tahuti, very capable. Steele, very capable. If he's able to get the right roster. Hero, I think he's capable. I mean, listen, I think I'm worse than Hero as a user, and I won a Super Bowl with Cleveland Browns, so, like, maybe Hero can do it too. That defense is stacked. It's real stacked, so we'll have to see whether he's able to kind of shut guys down that way. But it'll just be interesting. But I do think CMAS is the front runner early on, and then as the cycle progresses, I think it'll be more of a 2-man race between CMAS and Tahuti, with then Hero and Steele, still in contention for the playoffs, but they'll be kind of down in the 3rd and 4th positions. The next division, and I'm sorry for the delay, I keep having to go. Okay, there we go. NFC North, again, speak of the devil, Alex's Chicago Bears, Boz's Detroit Lions. Just no long field goals against the Detroit Lions, please. Tim's Green Bay Packers, Dan's Minnesota Vikings. I think this is I think you have a pretty, like, the most clear 1 through 4 that we've had so far. I think Dan's number 1, Alex number 2, Boz number 3, Tim number 4. In my opinion, is pretty clear. Do either of you disagree? And then if not, just what are your overall thoughts on the division?
I could see Boz and Alex fighting it out for number 2. I think Boz is a little bit more inconsistent, but he showed some good moments in Madden 21. I do agree generally. I'm pretty confident that it'll be Dan, Alex, Boz for the majority of the cycle. But it wouldn't at all shock me to see once Boz can build his team up a little bit, because the Lions aren't starting from a great place. It wouldn't shock me to see him steal a couple from Alex.
Bringing up the list right now.
I will say this is an interesting division, if for nothing else. Then you got 3 out of the 4 guys in there are taking their real life teams.
Yeah.
That's all. It's always different trying to do team management. Like, I was a Seahawks last year, and it's always different trying to do team management when you have like an emotional, personal attachment to players. It'll be really interesting to see how that plays into the dynamics of their team building and whatnot. But Dan is the only one coming in there taking a team that he's not like emotionally invested in at this point, which is it. You can tell yourself that you don't like, but it's not going to affect the way you do things. But it always affects things a little bit. Like, there's no way I was trading DK Metcalf last night. It just wasn't gonna happen.
Right, yeah.
What do you got, Morty?
Yeah, I feel like there's, at least with Alex and the Bears, there's no, at least with CFM for me, there's no greater joy than like having that quarterback that is like your team actually has, and it's just somebody you know, like what you envision to be realistic in the future. Like, you kind of want to do the one cycle version of that and kind of grow him to be this like absolute stud. So I do think Alex is going to get Fields into a great spot. And you know, it's sometimes you got to toe the line between, you know, making sure he gets his or like, you know, go for the win. But usually with a quarterback that overlaps quite a bit. So I think things will go well for him. And he's got a pretty solid defense, right? And then at least for what I'm familiar with, other than that, is Dan. And, you know, he wanted the Vikings and he got them. And, you know, I think he's got a lot of good pieces in place. I think it's going to be a lot of battles up there. And, you know, the Packers are a pretty good team, right? And so I think if Tim sticks with Rodgers, I think that'll kind of, you know, that'll lead to some success for him. And I am generally unfamiliar with Boz, but if Lions are his favorite team, he must know it pretty well in and out. And, you know, they got some good pieces there. You know, who knows what's up with the quarterback, but I do think, you know, once again, if for the most part these guys have teams they're really familiar with, I think that could go a long way. Because I think back to when I had the Patriots, at some point, like, being really familiar with the age of the players, the contract lengths, you know, some of that like smaller detail stuff, I think it can kind of benefit you in the long run.
Yeah, as Cody just pointed out in the chat, Tim is the only one with Gunslinger in that division, so we'll see how much that helps him. Obviously, Gunslinger was maybe the best ability in all of Madden 21 as far as, you know, being able to get your offense, your passing game going. So we'll see how that is able to impact it. You know, maybe Tim steals a couple wins early on. I do think that Dan has a bit of a question as far as the QB goes. Obviously, you know, last cycle he was able to get Norman Fletcher going. You know, it wasn't too much of an issue for him later in the cycle, but, you know, the first couple seasons, that was kind of a question mark for his New Orleans Saints, and he does now have to choose between Cousins and Kellen Mond. Can't imagine that Kellen Mond's going to be all that good in sim mode, so we'll just have to see what he chooses to do. But season 1 maybe a bit of a struggle for him, especially, you know, we know how pass heavy he likes to be, so that may be a bit of an issue for him potentially, at least early on. But yeah, as I kind of indicated before, I do think this is a pretty clear 1 through 4. Again, not to, you know, keep shouting at Cody's comments here, but he says, I do think Boz could be an underrated user this year, has his team, and has been playing a fair bit of Madden since launch. You know, a lot of guys have been pretty invested in Mutt. It seems like Boz is one of them. We'll see whether that translates. You know, I don't know. Boz to me feels like one of those kind of like high ceiling, low floor users where, like, depending on like which Boz shows up, like he can beat a lot of users and he can also, you know, lose to a lot of users. So we'll have to see if that changes Madden to Madden, but I don't think that level of inconsistency is gonna be good enough against, especially Dan, but also potentially Alex if he's able to, you know, take a bit of a step forward from Madden 21. Hopefully, I will say I am giving Alex a lot of respect given the Madden 21 cycle he had, but I'm kind of assuming that we see more of like the early Alex. Hoping.
Who do you have as one? Is it Alex?
Dan, I think. Yeah.
One of the things I'm really curious to see, and I think that this division will highlight it a lot, is that with the state of the passing game being what it is, in which it seems to be dumbed down a little bit. I think think Dan would refer to it as making it easier for the Target Timmies and the Walgreens Willies, or sorry, the Walmart Willies. That they're kind of dumbing down the game to like draw in that lowest common denominator. And it'll be curious to see if in a division like this, where you have a guy like Dan who understands the game really well, will it lift a guy like that up, or is he just going to be the same good user we've seen while we see the other users like Boz and Alex, like it boosts their ability? And
in case you missed that, Lucky just called Boz and Alex Walmart Willies or whatever it was. Yeah, continue.
I'm gonna stick with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be a really interesting thing to track. Especially, I feel like this division is potentially a good example of that. As we do like, yeah, like Alex and Boz are solid users, but I think we can agree Dan is just a step above them.
Yeah.
And gameplay the way it is, I think it has the potential to either separate Dan a little bit more because he understands the game on that level, or it could help kind of shrink the distance between the two groups.
It'll be interesting, yeah. I mean, I do think Alex with those cheats, I think he more so than like any of the other quote unquote elite users, like actually it kind of hurt him that he had like Tyreek Hill and Hardman early on, like all that speed, because he was just staring those guys down on those deep routes and he would just throw it into double, triple coverage. And I am almost wondering, like with a lesser Bears wide receiving core, if he ends up actually being more efficient because he's not staring one guy down. He can be more of kind of like a holistic passing user. We'll see, this is all hypothetical, so we'll have to see. But yeah, I do think Dan's going to win the division season 1 and probably a lot moving forward. Move on now. We are halfway through. We move on now to the AFC South, which is actually a really interesting division in my opinion. Ben's Houston Texans, Taint's Indianapolis Colts, Kooks Jacksonville Jaguars, Cloud's Tennessee Titans. Obviously, Ben he took the Texans almost to prove a point. He's tried to explain it. It's going to be rough, although they do still have Deshaun Watson, so that's going to be really, really tough in this Madden. Taint has obviously been grinding a lot of MUT, spending a lot of money on MUT, which,
Spending money? Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh, I didn't know that.
He's diving in deep.
He's in real deep in the MUT culture. Yeah, it's a little questionable, but he's trying to get better, so I respect that. Kook, I have not heard a word from since Madden 22 came out, so we'll just have to see. And then, obviously, Cloud, haven't heard much from him either, but we know he's on MUT. We know he's back. We know he, is a very solid user every single cycle. I really don't even know what to make of this division, so I'm going to let y'all take this one early on. Morty, again, I'll start with you for this one. How do you see this division shaking out?
Yeah, it should be really interesting. I know Ben's got the user skills to kind of overcome where that team currently is at. I'm not familiar with where Watson's sitting at this point, if he's got superstar abilities or what, but either way, he's got raw skills that you can still kind of excel with. There's some talent there. It's not 100% Bear, mostly Bear. But, the other 3 teams here, it will be interesting to see if Cloud returns to form, and he's got a solid roster. We've mentioned before his days with Derrick Henry before were kind of dominant, so hopefully he doesn't return to that. And then, if Tate put it in the work behind the scenes, then, he could really come out firing. That team's pretty solid. And then Kook with the Jags. Thanks for Henderson. That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, claps to Ben. He got this far, and he still has Deshaun Watson. So it's literally 100% of the reason he took the team. He decided that it was going to be easier, better for him to just go into the cycle with his QB of the cycle and build everything else around that. And so he took arguably the worst roster in the league to prove that point. He got clowned on for it, very rightfully. And it's, he made it to the start of the cycle. Every week we kept going, and I kept waiting to see if Deshaun Watson would get traded, because it just would have been hilarious if the outcome of the scouting update getting delayed was that Ben lost to Deshaun Watson. It would have made me very happy. But he made it, so Ben goes into the cycle with the team that he picked, which is ultimately better for the league as a whole. It'll just be interesting to see what he can do with it. Obviously, he's a great team builder. He'll find a way to, by season 3 or 4, to have this team where he wants it. Like, that's what we all do. A few seasons in, your starting roster is just a distant memory. So it'll be real interesting to see where he goes from here. To your point, I think that Deshaun Watson, correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody in the chat, but I believe that he is at superstar now, but he lost some abilities.
Based on what Dan's saying, it sounds like he at least lost escape artist. I don't know if that means they dropped him down to star or normal dev, but he doesn't have escape artist anymore.
So that's pretty big. He's still superstar, and with Ben, there's a very real possibility he gets up to X Factor and he can get it back.
I'm looking at an updated franchise right now, and he's at star.
That's tough.
What I'm looking at now.
That's tough.
Okay. Well, that's going to be fun. Yep.
He's still a 90, 25.
Well, this is fantastic. I feel like we're all learning this together. I'm enjoying this a lot. Ben,
Yeah,
we're
you
getting
like
some comments in the chat really quick.
So he's pretty much got Taysom Hill then. It's pretty much the same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. Maybe Davis Mills can be your starter week 1. Maybe that's a good idea at this
Shit,
point.
why not? When he looked against the Pats? Shoot.
All right. We've done everything in this podcast that I felt I needed to, so I feel like we can call it quits and just, we're good for the minute. That's fantastic. Great. So, anyways, moving on to the rest of the division. I do think that Taint, all the work that he's putting in, he's somebody who every season last year I really felt like, and if any season he broke out, it wouldn't have surprised me. It always felt like he had shown a solid base, and he was putting up those building blocks, and he was trying to get a little bit better. And obviously, he's diving in deep to it right now, so we'll see if that works out for him. I kind of hope it does, because the chat's a little bit more fun when he's active in it. And winning users tend to be more active users.
Yep.
Meanwhile, I'm with you on Kook. I don't know where the hell that guy is. I don't really have much to say about it. They have Trevor Lawrence. That's going to be cool, I guess. Have fun, Kook. Cloud.
Yeah.
Also, where are you? Come hang out with us, buddy. We had some good times. You left us. It's okay. We forgive you. You come back in. We want you here, I guess.
He's been playing a lot of MUT and not a lot of head-to-head against better league guys. I don't get it. I miss you, Cloud. Cloud was my first big quote-unquote rivalry in Madden, so I miss him. I want you back, Cloud. Come back to the chat. Finn subscribing. Thank you so much, Finn. Love you. Can't wait to be in your division. We'll get to our division very, very soon. I know Morty's excited for that too. And it sounds like Deshaun Watson's been star dev for a while. I must have just missed it. I don't know. But that does hurt Ben a lot, as Cody was saying. And this division to me, it's I don't want to say that Taint is clearly above Kook. That feels wrong because Kook made the playoffs twice, and he beat Ben once and very nearly beat him a second time in the playoffs. So I don't know. I just haven't seen Kook play Madden 22, not a single snap. So until I see him play, I have to assume that Taint's better just based on the hundreds of games I've seen Taint play versus Kook. I'm not sure how much he's even touched the game yet, so I just have to assume that Taint will at least be number 3. Ben, I do think even with that lesser Texans roster, I do think he'll be pretty competitive season 1. I know he wants to prove a point that he is a very solid user with or without a stacked team. I don't think you can take that away from him. So we'll just have to see how he does. But I do think he'll be pretty consistently in that playoff hunt. I do have Cloud winning the division season 1. I think that's based on the Titans having a far stronger roster than the Texans, and also based on, Cloud had a lot of early success in that NFC West. Lucky you can speak on that too, because you were in the division with him. But I believe Cloud won the division season 1 in that division too, and that was with, him having, at the time, an okay Cardinals roster, and then Ben having a pretty stacked 49ers roster. So based on the level of dedication it seems like Cloud has to, MUT to grinding, I just have to assume he's going to win. But we will have to see. Ben won the challenge of building a team. Yep. It's funny how it keep happening to read Cody's. I don't know. I'm just in love with Cody. I just read all of his comments. Love you, Cody. Miss your division. But it's going to be a really interesting division. Next up, Morty will have fun with this one. The NFC South Finns, Atlanta Falcons, Morty's Carolina Panthers, my New Orleans Saints, Gamble's Tampa Bay Bucks. I'll give my thoughts real quick, and then we can go Morty and then Lucky at the end. I am really, really excited to be in this division. This is going to be a lot of fun. Gamble has a really solid roster. I think we know what to expect from him as a user. I think he's probably going to be in fourth place more often than not. That's no disrespect. I just think that's kind of what we've seen from him throughout his Madden career. He'll have fun with Brady. He'll have fun with that stacked Bucks offense, but it'll be, I think, a bit of a struggle for him. Finn, I have no clue. I just don't know because I'm not in Top Madden. I have never played him. I've seen him play a couple times. He has him and CMAS are the most beautiful streams in the league, and Cody's seen once he gets his stuff back. So I know he'll be solid, but I just don't know if he's going to be that clear number one. That's not to say he won't be. I don't know. Morty, Lord knows I have respect for you as a user. Obviously the 4 rings are there to prove it. And with that secondary, and that's going to be really, really tough to throw the ball on you. I may just have to pound Kamara 30 times a game. We'll have to see. But, that'll be really, really tough to deal with. I think I'll probably take a bit of a step back from N21. I don't have that stacked Browns defense anymore, but, we'll see if the improvements I've made as a user have been enough. I do think this is Morty's division season 1. That's not to say it's his division every season, because I don't think it will be, but I think season 1, I have you taking it. Morty, what do you think?
Yeah, let's just rename this the NFC Southcast at this point.
Yeah, for real.
No, I agree with a lot of what you said. I am pretty cautious or scared, maybe I could even say that, of Gamble, because offensively he can put up the points. He only had Morrison last cycle, but now he's got three competent, very competent receivers to kind of force it to. So maybe that'll help him. I'm worried about him, especially the year 1, because I feel like it'll be just constant shootouts potentially. But yeah, I haven't been following the roster throughout the season so far too well. But in terms of transactions, I definitely think the Panthers kind of benefited the most of all, especially that secondary. I am so set with my secondary right now. It is. I gotta calm down. I'm getting a little excited about that secondary. I was happy with Henderson and just thinking I have 4 solid guys to dev throughout the cycle, and Gilmore is a bit older, of course, but it's definitely turned my expectations for the earlier in the cycle has definitely improved just a tad. Having that true shutdown corner, it's kind of insane at this point. But yeah, so that's still defense. I still got a whole offensive side of the ball to worry about. I have no idea if what I'm going to do with Darnold still. I've been playing a little bit of started to CFM with the latest roster and just playing some sim. And, I think Lucky was saying earlier, Daniel Jones was doing really well in comp, and I was getting pretty impressed with Darnold in comp too, but now playing sim, sailing a lot of throws and, anybody nearby. Yeah. But yeah, so it's still a toss up there. But overall, I'm just ready to compete. It should be fun. I know you got a pretty good squad over there too. You got a lot of solid pieces.
Yeah.
We've got to have 2 of the best receiving backs in the league in this our 2 teams, I would imagine. And then a Finn over in Atlanta, same like you were saying, total wild card in terms of what I'm familiar with. I know he's got Pitts, and that's all I really know about the Falcons at this point. But he's already playing consistent sim league games, so I think just since that's a fact there, I think he's already got a head start on all of us. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not as confident as you are in myself in regards to kind of being atop the division early on, but the transactions have helped me, and I think we're all just gonna try to keep up with Gamble's shootouts. I think that's what it might turn out to be. I am very, very worried about what Gamble might be able to do with that absolute juggernaut of a team.
Yeah,
I agree with a lot of what you guys have said. I'm going to shed a little bit more light on Finn for a second. I think he's getting a little bit underlooked here, and just generally amongst the league. I think he kind of he kind of deals with the same thing that Tahuti has been dealing with, in that recency bias, and a lot of the league has only really seen them over the last season or two of the last cycle, where they're not able to build their own team. And I gotta say, the other night, Finn hopped into a party chat with a group of us who were just hanging out, and he sold me on himself. He really did. He came in. I think Dan asked him, "Do you expect to make the playoffs?" And he was just confident. He just said, "I expect to make the playoffs in every league that I'm in." I do think that he's that type of user. I think he's somebody that we personally haven't seen enough of in BL, and that kind of tends to lead people to not not give people credit until they've shown that they can do something, which is super reasonable. But that doesn't mean that they don't have it. From what I've heard in him in other leagues, he's up there. He is a contender. I don't know if he's a championship contender, but he is a division contender, a playoff contender every single year. He is at that level.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on the Falcons roster, so we'll see what he does with that. But that's, like I said before, also by season 3 or 4, everybody's going to have their roster where they want it to be. So I want to give him just a little bit more credit. I think that this is probably one of the divisions I'm looking forward to the most. I think it's going to be a really entertaining division with 3 guys who I think are roughly around the same skill level, that I assume are roughly around the same skill level. And I think it's just going to be a shootout every year. And yeah, Gamble's got easy mode quarterback for the first year. We'll see. I think that's going to be a really big test of how much can that one ability lift up a user. We'll see when he has that advantage that the rest of the league doesn't have, in a user that historically has not had as much success as others. It'll be interesting to see how much that lifts them up in a division with 3 other users that I believe are all legitimate playoff contenders every single season in, season out. It'll be interesting to see. I'm excited for this division.
Yeah, Gamble and Tim, really, because, I mean, if either one of them starts, going 500 every year with Gunslinger, then that really shows that it's just a OP ability. But, yeah, I mean, this is probably my biggest blind spot as, user, content creator, whatever you want to call it. It's I've only ever been in the Better League. I was never in City, never in Scrubs. I'm not in Top Madden now. So, guys who come in from other leagues, I just don't know. If Finn comes in and ends up running the division, sure, okay. I just have no reason to assume that's going to happen until I see it, and, I like Finn a lot. I've chatted with him a couple times. Seems like a great guy, quality guy, quality user as well. So, quality content creator. Love his streams. So, we'll just have to see. But yeah, I have Morty taking it, partially because he is the most successful user by far of the 4 of us, partially because that secondary scares me. It's going to be tough. We'll have to see how we can game plan around that in New Orleans, but we'll just have to see. Love you, Finn.
I saw Finn mention it in the chat again, but I do agree with him in the sense of it'll be a race for a quarterback, whichever the 3 of us can kind of get there, especially after Brady goes. Now 4 of us. But whoever can kind of get a solid QB in and kind of start deving him up. I mean, it'll probably come down to that. Looks like we're all in the market to some degree.
Yeah. I hate that.
In fairness, Brady's not retiring until season 8, so.
Yeah, we'll have 53-year-old just cybernetic Brady out there just throwing 50 touchdowns a year. It's going to be awesome. Super pumped for that. But he'll still have Gunslinger too. But yeah, it's just going to be a really, really fun division now. I'm going to love being in a division with the 3 of you. So we'll just see how it goes. Second to last division here, AFC West. This one, again, much like the AFC South. Don't really know what to make of it. Phil's Denver Broncos, Payne's Kansas City Chiefs, Justin's LA Chargers, Kumar's, I was about to say LA, Las Vegas Raiders. There we go. Las Vegas Raiders looking for new coaching, and it looks like Kumar showed up right at the last second here. But, obviously, the Chargers are going to have a pretty solid roster here, especially after how the start to the season has gone for them. They're probably getting some of those dev bumps, some of those ratings bumps. Justin, we shit on Justin a lot on the Better Cast in the league. I will give him his due credit. Very, very competent, very solid user. Does it always translate into playoffs? Not necessarily, but in the regular season, he's kind of like hero in that sense. He can beat anyone. I think that's pretty fair to say. Phil has had past success. That Madden 18 Denver Broncos team had a lot of success. Unfortunately, this is Madden 22. So 4 Maddens later, we'll just have to see how that translates. I'm expecting he'll be fine. He won't be horrible, but I'm not expecting him to be a world beater necessarily. Payne's Kansas City Chiefs, another example of, can a great roster elevate, kind of an okay user. I don't even think Payne's like a horrible user necessarily, but an okay user. We'll just have to see, If he gets more than one playoff win, then he's better than Alex. So good for him in that regard. And then Kumar, who I think is the biggest wild card here, had just an incredible final season. Looked really good against Dan in that divisional round loss. I know it's weird for me to keep bringing that game up, especially given they lost it, but I was so impressed with how he passed in that game. And if we see more of that Kumar, then he's going to win the division, in my opinion. But I'm assuming we don't see that, game in, game out. So Lucky, we'll start with you this time. What do you think about the AFC West here?
It's a really weird division for me in the sense that, like, I'm looking at just the names here, and I don't feel like I care much for cheering about any of them to win. Right. I feel like in any division, there's usually at least one guy where I'm like, I hope that guy does it. And I'm just looking at these names, I'm like, am I gonna be happy to see any of them win? Like, maybe Kumar, but even then, like, it's. I still love that Justin took the Chargers because he wanted a superstar quarterback. He took Hero Austin's favorite team because he wanted a superstar quarterback and didn't get it.
Did you not get the memo to put the Chargers at 32 so Austin could be gifted them?
No, because Justin's an asshole. But, like,
come on.
Yeah, this Phil's the Broncos for what, the 18th straight season? Like, at this point, do you think he's figured out the blueprint? Do you think he knows what he's doing yet? Like, the way he wants to do it? I mean, he's just going to get 4 tight ends again. I don't know. It's going to be a competitive division. I'm sure Phil is going to come in looking to play. Justin's always a solid regular season user. Kumar, I was in his division. He got helped out a lot once Zach Bean had a reroll in either the last season or the second to last season, and he got, I can't remember if he got Gunslinger or Set Feed.
Set Feed Elite?
The other
that one, yeah. Not that I would know.
Yeah, he's solid. Like, those 3 users, I think, are going to compete year in and year out for the division. I really still don't know much about Payne, but I just have difficulty getting excited about this division in any way. I just find myself not caring about this division.
I don't know. I look at it and I see. I'd love to see P run this thing with the Chiefs. To be honest, being with them in the NFC West last year, he's kind of done like the switch over to this different similar team. But yeah, I know he's just a good guy for this, from what I recall. And I don't know. I could see it. I could see it in a way. Like, he was good offensively. He wanted to essentially the what he turned the Chargers into were what the Raiders are now, just like good quarterback and speed for the most part. So maybe he's, obviously chose the Chiefs for a reason. So I think I'd like to see him kind of, not stand out above the rest, but I do think he'll be up there and be able to compete. But overall, I think it is quite the toss up in terms of seeing these names. I'd love to see the Raiders do good. I always have a spot in my heart for the Vegas Raiders at this point after being really familiar with the team, and it'll be tough on defense specifically. But that combo of Jacobs, Waller, and Ruggs, it's kind of deadly, and I think they can cause some damage. And I'm sure Carr has benefited quite a bit from some roster updates. I have to imagine, for me, he was a prime amnesty candidate, and but at this point, you might have to roll with him. He's just good enough. Who knows? And so, what's the deal? Did Herbert not get superstar? Was that the case?
Yeah, I believe at least as of release, I'm pretty sure that he was star dev.
Right.
I don't believe that he has since gotten it, even though he's been playing well. But who knows?
Yeah. And Justin put them at number 1, being like, if anyone's guaranteed to get superstar dev, it's Justin Herbert. More so than Mahomes, more so than anyone. So that's that's cool. Good on you, Justin. But yeah, Phil will get those 6 tight end sets going. Darren Waller, Kyle Pitts, George Kittle, no one is safe. Keep your tight ends close to your vest, ladies and gentlemen, because if not, Phil is coming for them. I I do think that Justin. No, you know what? I don't think Justin's because I was about to give Justin credit and I refuse to do that here on the Bettercast. I think Kumar's going to win the division season 1. You know, I really, really liked what I saw out of him in the last season. I know he benefited from those abilities, as you were saying, but you still got to make the throws. You still got to make the reads, and I think he did a really, really solid job again in the hardest division, making all the way to the divisional round. And I don't know. I just until Justin continues to prove it, until maybe we see that elite Madden 18 Phil Payne, I just don't think is gonna win the division ever. Sorry, Payne, if you're watching this, but I have Kumar winning it season 1. Again, that's not to say he'll win it every year because I do think this is one of the more unpredictable divisions, but I just have Kumar winning this final division of the show here, and then we will go to our Super Bowl previews at the end. But I don't know. Bit of a letdown to end with this one, but we do get to talk about Cody Youngson here. Caden's Arizona Cardinals, Cody's LA Rams, Ryan's San Francisco 49ers, Chapter's Seattle Seahawks. I mean, we know who's winning the division. Yeah. How do you see the rest of the division going? It's just, yeah.
So Cody's been hitting the mutt grind hard? Is that why he's
hard, real hard,
I know.
Real
okay,
hard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Caden,
All right.
last
So
time
he's
Caden was
got
here,
familiar.
Caden was a competitor, right?
He was. He actually technically highest winning percentage regular season in Better League history through 2 seasons. Yeah. Shout out to Dan. Thank you, Dan. Any other thoughts on the? Okay.
I don't know. Ryan gets to play with his team. Trey Lance is going to be fun to use, I'm sure. Chap he's got the Seahawks. I hope the Seahawks do well. Always cheer for the Seahawks.
Always.
Yeah, I think the main question is Caden starts with a really good team. It's going to be interesting to see what he's able to do with it. I know people are banging down his door for Kyler Murray. I'm confident he will not be moving Kyler Murray. And I think that's going to be a big deal because I believe he also has Gunslinger. He's the other guy in the league that has it, so that's huge. I think he's the only competitor to Cody. I think Cody obviously has 2 99s on defense. I'm not sure what the rest of his defense looks like in Madden. In real life, I know the Rams don't have a whole lot outside those 2 guys. But I'm not sure Madden-wise how that looks. Cody's a great user, though, and I'm sure that he was able to win a Super Bowl season 1 with the Bengals, so I'm not worried about his ability to win with a team that may not be as good, but the Rams are good, so that's not even a question that we need to consider having.
I'm really curious to see what Cody does do with his team, kind of from a GM standpoint. And we know the user skills are there, but I mean, either he's dropping a lot of smoke screens in the chat, or he's definitely trying to move a couple big pieces or a big piece or two in terms of I don't know, who knows what he's looking to swap it for, but I feel like he's probably thinking the team is in a good enough spot to start that he could maybe trade some big time assets away to gain some kind of long-term capital in other regards, with knowing his skill is there to still be able to, potentially make a run in that year, like be able to lose some, but still kind of make up for it with his user skill. So that's kind of what I'd be thinking anyways, if I was going about it like that. But yeah, like you guys were saying, the Cardinals are pretty scary. Kyler Murray is scary. I mean, probably a superstar at this point, right?
Has to be, yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know. I definitely do imagine it coming down to between them. Ryan. I mean, Ryan definitely kicked my ass once or twice in the last cycle, so I wouldn't completely rule him out. And there is a bit of extra juice in the sales, I guess, when it's a team you really care about. And like I was saying earlier, when you have a real rookie quarterback that like you just want to kind of develop into what you hope he really turns into, that can be that extra juice to kind of dev him that much better, or kind of perform that much better with him. So that can kind of lead him some places, but he's definitely got some work to do with the Niners, kind of getting into a better spot to compete. And then Chap did seem quite a bit deflated when he got stuck with the Seahawks. So like I was definitely hoping to see him get a team he was really excited about because he's got good talent. He's beaten me quite a handful of times at this point when he was the Texan for the last couple cycles. So I mean, it seems like he's really, really hot and cold. Like he'll put up offensive numbers, but just on the defensive side, like it's not there. And then also he will make major mistakes offensively, like a trade-off kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think this thing goes through LA, but I do think Caden has a strong chance of kind of nipping at Cody's heels pretty consistently. And Caden's definitely been busy on the GM side of things. He's definitely kind of discussed a trade or two, just kind of initially seeing what's out there. So it's not like a user where you haven't heard from him in a while, but Caden's definitely doing things behind the scenes, so he's ready to go.
Yeah, he'll be. And I sounded disrespectful during the intro. I do think Caden's going to be like pretty solid throughout the cycle. Like, it's not to say that it's Cody and then no one else is ever going to accomplish anything, because I do think Caden's a better user than that. It's just that I think Cody is so clearly in his own tier that there's no point in trying to obfuscate that. But yeah, obviously, as you said, Morty runs through LA. Sounds like Aaron Donald's on the block. We're gonna have to see what that turns into as far as who values Aaron Donald. Will Cody be able to get an easy mode quarterback season one? We'll have to see. Even if not, I know that even with non-ability Joe Burrow, he still won a Super Bowl and beat my ass twice. So I know it's very, very solid regardless of that. But yeah, Cade will be solid. Chap, I don't know. Chap's interesting because he is one of those users who really, really benefits from having a mobile quarterback. He likes to roll out a lot, call it hike and haul if you want. I might call it hike and haul, but he likes to roll out a lot, and he really, really benefits from having that escape artist. He has Russ, so that'll be nice for him. And I do think he'll be able to be kind of like a tricky out for anyone who's playing him, but just the consistency, we just haven't seen it from him, so we'll just have to see. And then, Ryan will have fun with Trey Lance, and he'll have a great cycle just deving up Trey Lance and dreaming about that. But
maybe trading Trey Lance to King, letting King dev him up and trade him back.
Yeah. That'll be a whole lot of fun. No collusion though, obviously.
No, that would never happen.
Yeah, not in my better league. That is the final division. We move on now. I keep having to go back and forth because my phone hates me. We'll move on now to our Super Bowl predictions. Obviously, I can start so that you have time to pull up the list if you don't have it already. I've been pretty consistent with my iPhone's tripping. Okay. My Super Bowl predictions have been pretty consistent throughout. I think I've done like 3 or 4 shows. There's going to be another one tomorrow, so tune in for that. Serious? Power rankings, baby. 1 through 32. So that'll be a whole lot of fun. CMAS will announce that later. But coming out of the AFC, I do have CMAS's Baltimore Ravens. I think he's going to get through the AFC North. I'm terrified of Lamar Jackson. CMAS beat me by like 40 points in the preseason tournament, and as soon as he did that, I was like, all right, he's winning the Super Bowl, because sometimes you just got to have the most basic rationale for stuff, and that's pretty much me. And then from the NFC, I do have Cody. He has the cleanest, I think, division to run through. He won't be challenged quite as much in the NFC, which normally, more to you and I have both said that can be kind of a detriment to users when they're not challenged. But I think Cody, with his mud abilities, with his experience, I don't think that'll really be an issue for him. And then I do think that LA Rams team is tough. I think he's been grounding a lot. I do think he'll make it. And then just purely, I was an AFC homer last cycle. This year I have to be an NFC homer. I am going with Cody Youngson over CMAS. I'll have him winning, let's say, 42-38. It's going to be, we know how Madden 22 is. It's going to be a big scoreline, and that's the scoreline I have. Whoever wants to start, whoever's ready. Sounds like the Ravens won. Wow. All right. Yeah, just whoever wants to start with the Super Bowl preview, go ahead and give it.
Go ahead, Morty.
I'm blanking. Go, Lucky, go.
I wasn't ready. All right, off the cuff, we're gonna go. I'm gonna stick with Cody. I agree that I believe he has the best. He has the best route to. I believe that it's very likely he ends up with the number 1 seed. Only has to win a couple games rather than 3. So I could easily see him making it there. But I'm gonna go with a different AFC North user, and I'm gonna say that we're gonna see the Bengals in the season 1 Super Bowl 2 cycles in a row. Okay. I think we're gonna see Tahuti there. yeah, maybe it's just my my old Man City memory of Dahoudi and just him being unstoppable and seeing what he can do when he's fully committed to a league. But I really do think we're going to see a Dahoudi that's locked in season one. And Cody going against his own team in the Super Bowl, there's going to be some mixed feelings there. I think maybe he might like blow a coverage or two just to see a championship come to Cincinnati. And I'm going to pick Dahoudi over Cody in the Super Bowl season one. I'm not going to give a score prediction because I haven't even seen either of these guys play a sim game yet. But I do appreciate your score prediction, so that's clear. But personally, I'm not going to do it. But yeah, no, I think we're going to see a Dahoudi championship pretty early on.
I don't hate that.
All right, I'm gonna get spicy here, and my rationale is like both of these teams' quarterbacks are just gonna absolutely carry them the whole way. Aiden with the Cardinals and Murray, I mean, I'm sure at some point, like, you know, he's gonna have to get beyond Cody, but who knows? Maybe he sneaks in as a wild card or whatever. But who knows? Anything can happen in the playoffs. And once again, cycle sloppiness, like it's kind of there. We're all getting used to things. So I want to say Caden's coming out of the NFC, and then I'm going to say Cam is going to come out of the AFC, and once again he's going to ride Josh Allen hard, so hard. And you know, he performed really well in that preseason tournament, right?
Real well.
Kind of finding his groove.
He beat a lot of good users in that tournament.
Yeah, I was impressed. I watched that final game. And, you know, I just think, once again, you know, Austin might take the division or whatever. It might have to squeeze through the wild card. But, yeah, I mean, anything can really happen in the playoffs. And, you know, Cam, one thing from Cam's streams, he stays really calm, and collected. And I think that'll really benefit him kind of in the playoff time. And once again, just kind of ride. These guys just got to ride those quarterbacks. And, you know, ultimately I will say, I think I could see Caden kind of squeezing it out just because I guess Madden wise, I think of Murray as a little more dominant than Josh Allen. Although Josh Allen's got those, is just like an absolute beast, and I think you could just kind of carry that team. I think there's no limits to the degree he can kind of carry that team.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Caden.
Now, Allen's a goon for sure. Yeah, 99 throw power, decent speed. Yeah, you know, if there's any year for Cam to do it, it's now. Everyone loves that prediction in the chat. So yeah, we that'll do it for episode 42 of the Bettercast, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you know, in case y'all forgot, the Bettercast was an institution here. Better like 42 episodes. I'm sure we'll come with the 43rd relatively soon. Stick around. But again, for me, it's Cody beating CMAS. From Lucky, it's Dahoudi beating CMAS. And from Morty, did you say he was going to win that game, or did you just give the Super Bowl?
Oh, Caden's going to win.
Okay, Caden beating
NFC.
Cam.
Go NFC.
Go NFC. And listen, if we see a Caden Cam Super Bowl, that's going to be the most watched Super Bowl in Better League history. Far surpassing me and Ben, I promise you, because that would be just absolutely incredible. What happens to Alan is Ram, but thank you all so much for joining. Thank you always to Lucky and Morty for joining. You know, love it every time the three of us can get on a show here, and think you did a good job. And again, shout out to Morty's 4 rings, just swinging in the distance there. I guess I'll announce the CMAS again. We will have the Power Rankings reveal show. It'll be me, Cody, Dan, and CMAS, I guess, a 4-man crew. Again, if you filled out those 1 to 32 pre-cycle power rankings that Dan sent you, you'll see your list reflected in that, and it'll be really interesting. I'm sure there'll be a lot of screaming. I'm sure there'll be a lot of hot takes. The screaming from me, obviously. No one else really screams on that show, but we'll see how that goes. Thank you so much. Any final thoughts from the two of you before we close out here?
Yeah, actually, real quick. Hey guys, we did it. It was a long wait. It was a really long wait. And echo what I said earlier, I'm honestly a little bit surprised we only lost one person in this long wait to start the cycle. I know that not everybody was on board. A lot of people want to get started. A lot of people got antsy. I get it. But this week, the league's getting created. We're getting everybody in. And next week, we're going to start playing some Madden football, playing some Better League football. We're going to get the commentaries back up. We got more content coming tomorrow, obviously. I'm excited to get this going. I'm really excited. We're finally doing it. We made it. It was a long wait. We're here. Let's go, Better League.
Couldn't agree. So I couldn't agree more with that. And the one thing I'll say is we're about to have a significant amount of new features introduced, and who knows what degree like they're gonna work or how we're gonna have to over time rein it in with creating new rules. Because I think back to when superstar abilities were just dropped on us. The rule book really had to like over time catch up to it to like make sure nobody was doing too much like taking advantage of this or that. So like there's guys expect growing pains, you know, if like there's loopholes going on, like it's unfortunate, but like the way the way EA does it, like the rule book has to adjust over time. There's gonna be some of that, and you know, let's not like cry about it too much, you know. Let's just like to Madden, and you know, we'll figure it out eventually.
If you have complaints, direct them to Morty's DMs.
Yeah, and I'll promptly ignore you or whatever.
Beautiful stuff. You know, Better League never cries about anything. I'm sure that won't happen. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining. We had pretty consistent, like 15, 20 viewership this entire time, which, again, you know, that's testament to how strong the league is. The fact that, again, is like I said, only one person dropped out. And it wasn't even because of the wait. It was just because he didn't want to play Madden anymore. So, like, only one person dropped out from this long scouting update wait. That is a big testament to how strong the league is. And I'm excited to get the Better League Network going again, get the commentaries going, get the streams going. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. And yeah, Cody, let's not even bring that energy into the world. Hopefully the update comes out and it's all smooth sailing. We'll see how EA is able to do on that one. But thank you so much for joining along with Lucky and Morty. I am your humble host. It's been a long time since I said that. Connor Rice. Peace. Oh my, no!